just wanted to talk about skeptics. I feel, from my observation, that there's a difference between someone who calls themselves skeptical and someone who you would describe as skeptical. So the self-proclaimed skeptic isn't very skeptical. No, in fact, they all pretty much believe the exact same thing and are completely contained in a box that is impossible for any of them to get out of. And that's just like, it completely goes against what it means to be skeptical, I guess. Like, the skeptic, in a true sense, realizes that things are not as they seem and don't accept how they seem, and they investigate deeper beyond the commonly accepted, paradigm. You can see it all throughout history. Just in any kind of scientific progression, you need to have the out-of-the-box thinkers. Like, it's required to make progress. It's like these skeptics, so-called skeptics, just like sit around and like poke fun and laugh at like fringe ideas that are like supposed to be where new insight comes from and progression happens. So they're just like completely blocking themselves from making progression and just like laughing on a high pedestal and looking down and saying, ha ha ha, everyone else is stupid. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's really crazy that, like, this is what you find when you look for skeptical people, is like just insanity. Like, believing the same thing over and over again without any evidence, like ignoring evidence that comes, contrary. I mean, like, the biggest example, the glaring example, is 9/11. I mean, the evidence is very clear. There's not really any room for a different interpretation. And so people just ignore evidence and write it off as a conspiracy theory, so automatically it has to be wrong. Like, theories are just theories, they're ideas. That's what science is like founded on. Like, and then you follow the evidence. And it's just astonishing that people think they would know about that idea and that process, but are completely stuck in their own box and not, like, allowing that process to happen that needs to happen. So, I don't know, it's just frustrating to me. I wanted to talk about how I felt about it a little bit, just because it's good for me to get that out, express how I feel. And I'm very guided by how I feel. Like, skeptics might say that's like ridiculous. You have to completely go by reason and rational thought, like, at all times. Like, that's not, my search for truth is like subjective. Because I realize that all truth is subjective, and that everyone's in their little subjective bubble of truth, and like, you can find hypocrisy within anybody's bubble, and they can find it within yours, because like, people's lives and experiences are different and create a different illusion, in a sense. The consciousness is an illusion, and there's other ways to access information through our bodies, like, rather than through the intellect. And so that is very important in understanding what it really means to be human. Like, which we don't really understand. We don't understand our history very well. We don't understand our DNA very well. We're lacking a lot of understanding, so we need to make progress by being open-minded and looking at things that might not look on the surface how you want them to, but it can have insight, when you explore them non-judgmentally. And not trying to fit everything to your preconceived notions of how the world should be, because it's much bigger than that, and so it's going to take everyone's perspective to see, not just yours, not just mine, so that is our, our choice, like whether we want to keep progressing or we just want to, stay where we're at, and it's just about being open, allowing things to not be how you want them to be or you think they are, or how science says they should be, because science can never know anything. They know nothing. Science itself knows nothing. It's a curiosity. It's a drive to progress, realizing that there's never an end to the progression. So you always have to challenge and disprove things, I guess, and that's all you can do. You can never really prove anything, so you're never going to really know the truth. But you can, come up with enough things that you've seen proved to be the truth and correlate them together in some way to have this notion of how things should be. We all have that. But it's I guess, just always challenging yourself is where progress comes from, and I don't know what things are like, but for me, I can express very well how they make me feel. So that's where my truth is. That's where my subjective truth is. And for each person, it's different. So we all just need to challenge ourselves and look inward and find who we are in order to be a beautiful expression of it rather than a distorted, ugly expression of it, and it's, it's not an easy thing to do, and it takes some amount of faith and, letting go of all that, having to know, and surrendering to what is, in a sense, without your preconceived notions, how it is, or not even a belief anymore, science is the new religion. People just say, it's not a belief, it's absolute, and most people just follow blindly, It's not, they don't think of it as faith because they're oh, all the evidence is there, even though I don't understand it really, and I'm not allowing someone else to correlate it all together for me, rather than finding my own subjective truth within it, Not saying that most people that label themselves skeptics do that. They probably investigated pretty good. Science has a lot to give through that, but it also is very easily to be, controlled and manipulated and formulated for people in a way that doesn't connect them with everything else, you know, like I feel as if we're interconnected, and the idea of nothing in that, you know, the word no dash thing, no thing, that's the world. Like, the world is nothing in a sense. That the universe, the oneness is nothing. It's not a thing. It can't be encapsulated in a word or a thing or an understanding, a description, you know, like it all is like God. That's like big G God, you know. It's like, what, you know, it's like, but they're just words. Like, really, in reality, it's, you know, not encapsulated in that, and like the closest we can come to understanding it is surrendering and experiencing our own reflection in it, and it's just how I feel. Like, I studied physics, and just really like the concepts of physics and trying to understand reality and how things work, and theory of everything, you know. It's like, I don't know, it's taken me here to the I Ching, the book of changes and the unchanging truth. That's a pretty thick book. But it's really interesting how it is incorporated into Nassim Haramein's, Nassim, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, using the I Ching to construct the 64 tetrahedral structure. That's the contracting side of the yin side of the, you know, base pattern for the fractal 3D geometry that we experience on all levels of our being, and so it's interconnected through that, in a sense. It's just, it's amazing. My subjective truth and experience puts me in awe a lot, and makes me feel really good. Feel a greater purpose in striving for truth and, you know, justice and knowledge, and it is a deep passion of mine, and so I'm just trying to honestly express myself and how I feel, and maybe someone else wants to sit through this whole thing and listen to me talk, and that's great. That's really great. Maybe like the microphone didn't even pick up very well. You can't even barely hear what I'm saying. I'm just mumbling some stuff, but I hope you guys, you know, can feel me. Can you feel me? Have a good day.